Hi guys. Who wants me to read a story from Jesus Talk to Me Today? I haven't read one in a couple days, so we've been doing poetry. So I thought we'd read a story. These are true stories. A lot of these are children's encounters. Most of them are supposed to be. This one is by Heather Spiva, and it is called Jesus Outside the Window. My hair is everywhere, always. Smelled something smoking in the bedroom the other day, and we got to keep checking the fan because Sherm had to take the fan apart. So much of my hair was mixed around in the motor. He had to take all my hair out. My hair gets everywhere. It's all over the floor. It's in the bathtub. It's in the bed. My hair's everywhere. You should see the vacuum cleaner when we sweep the floor. A sudden and pitiful cry woke me from my sound sleep. Oh no, another nightmare. My youngest son had always slept soundly until he turned 2 years old. I rolled over, hoping he would go back to sleep. He howled again, more intensely this time. Apparently, we weren't going back to sleep anytime soon, not tonight. I grabbed my robe and walked to my son's room. As I opened the door, I heard him whimper. I sat on the edge of his bed and we went through the ritual of comfort, talking, prayer, and more comfort. Sometimes the comfort, just hugging and holding him, would help. At other times, I needed to return to his room a couple of times to get him calmed down enough to go back to sleep. I whispered to my son Caleb, Jesus loves you very much. Anytime you have a bad dream, pray to him. Tell him you are scared. Pray that he will take the scary part away. He is always here for you and with you even when you don't see him. He had repeated those words often in our house. In fact, we had used them initially for my oldest son, Joshua, who had gone through a similar phase of bad dreams a few years earlier. We would say them to him after we prayed and before we closed the door. It was a necessary ritual. He needed to hear it to feel safe. We needed to say it because when he felt safe, we could sleep. Their fear and bad dreams seemed to come from a variety of things, perhaps seeing things they shouldn't have seen on TV, an especially overwhelming day, or just a normal childhood bad dream. And so I prayed and said the comforting words. Caleb nodded to hear on this particularly cold night. He needed to hear this. Though I'd said the same words 100 times, it was just one more time for my boy who was sad and scared and needed comfort. After that night of bad dreams, a long string of nights passed quietly, and the nightmares seemed to be a thing of the past. I didn't think too much about it. I was just glad he wasn't waking up in the middle of the night with his terrified cries. One evening, my husband and I were in Caleb's room, praying our bedtime prayers together. Afterward, it was my turn to tuck him in, say the right words, and make sure his teddy bear and beloved blanket were close by. I turned out the light and walked back to sit on the edge of his bed. I repeated the words I said every night. Caleb listened as usual. He nodded and stuck his thumb in his mouth, his blanket tucked under his nose. I sang his favorite song to him and leaned in for a kiss. When I got up to leave, I noticed Caleb's pensive attitude, but chalked it up to his being tired. As I was about to close the door, he said, I saw Jesus last night. I stopped dead in my tracks. You saw who? Jesus, Caleb pointed to the window. That blind's closed and curtained down. I was well aware that my 2.5-year-old boy was just that, 2.5 years old, and he was a child with an active, if not active imagination. Hence the reason for the bad dreams, and the reason for the prayers, and perhaps the reason he told me he had seen Jesus. I walked back to his bed and sat down slowly. So you saw Jesus, huh? Yep, he was here. Okay, I nodded, my head racing. I can't believe he got to see Jesus. I wanted to yell and scream and jump up and down. How amazing is this? Jesus? But I didn't want to lose the moment. I didn't want to lose the truth my child was telling me, that he had seen the most important person in creation, the one who did everything for us, the one who loves us unconditionally, so much so that he came to my little boy's room to show him that he loved him. He cared about his sleep. He cared that he hurt. It wasn't logical, it was miraculous. So was he in the corner? I asked, trying to visualize where he would have been. No, I saw him in front of the window. He was right there, Caleb said, pointing to a dark wall. I nodded again. I didn't know what to say. That is so wonderful. That is the best thing that could have happened, honey. Such lame words for such a fantastic event. Caleb looked at me. He smiled. It sure is, and I'm not scared now. I was trying desperately not to cry. That would have confused my sweet boy. So I wiped my eyes and said, what a great thing he has done for you. I kissed Caleb again, looked once more at the darkened area where the window was, and closed the door behind me. I practically ran to the kitchen to find my husband and tell him the good news. The good news of Jesus, the news that gives us peace and everlasting life, and a good night's sleep. God answers prayers in his own way and in his own timing. And for good reason, my son seeing Jesus' face as the answer to our prayers was worth all the times I'd gotten up in the night. It was truly a great thing. Indeed, what a great thing he did and continues to do for us. I can't believe it that she's so excited and actually believes it, because a lot of parents, would, like pray to their kids and tell them about Jesus, but if their kids said they seen Jesus, they'd be like, oh, okay, that's good. They wouldn't believe it, but she actually truly believes it, because she believes, in Jesus, and she believed her son seen Jesus, and I think that is wonderful, because I believe he's seen him too. I truly do, and I'm so happy that she actually believed him. That is so wonderful. Why would a little kid lie? The kids have no reason to lie, and he was only 2.5 years old. Kids are so innocent, so innocent. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that story as well as I did, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Good night.